2005 Pontiac Grand Prix. We're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how to get access to replacing the radio, or if you ever wanted to replace the heater control panel. That's what we're going to show you how to do today. It's pretty easy thing to do. This just happens to be a GTP model, but they're pretty much all the same. Pontiac Grand Prix 2005, I think pretty much 2004 through 2008 maybe. Might be the same thing. So anyways, that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you what we did. I got myself just a couple of tools that you're really going to need. I got a flashlight. I got a little side screwdriver here in case I need to pull off these panels. I'm going to be pulling off this panel over here pretty much, and then once we do that, that'll expose all of the mounting hardware that's behind here. So let's get started. First of all, we're going to make sure we have all of our safety things in place. We're going to go ahead and set the parking brake so that we're going to have to move this gear shift lever in just a few minutes in order to get this panel off. I also got myself a cloth that I'm going to put on top of the instrument panel here, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because when I get this panel off, instead of unplugging the computer system here, your information computer system, I'm going to, because I'm going to leave that plugged in, I'm going to go ahead and just rest this right on top of there. And I'm going to put that up there so we don't scratch up the dash. So that's what that's there for. So relatively easy job, and we'll get down to that right now. I'll show you what's happening and what's going on and what you're going to need to do. So first thing we're going to do is as I said, we set the parking brake, and I'm going to take my little screwdriver. You don't need a side wedged one, but you're going to go ahead and pop this ignition cylinder cover, cylinder cover off. It just pops off once you get this behind there. Okay, there you go. And you just work it around, and it'll just come right off. And we're going to set that right over here. Then what we're going to do is this piece right here. You really don't have to take this piece off, but if you do, it just pops off like this. Pull it from the inside. We're going to take that piece and we're going to put that aside as well. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get this panel off. Very easy to do. I got myself the handy dandy glass replacement tool. Pretty good. Just going to pop that behind here. I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and reach inside, and I'm going to just pop this off like this. Pop this off. Do the same thing on this side over here. And then I'm going to work my way up like this, and then you won't damage the panel, and then that panel's just going to come off just like that. There's where my handy dandy cloth comes in. You don't scratch up the panel because I'm going to lay that right on the top up there just like that. Then you're exposed to screws here. Pretty simple and easy. I'm going to take a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, and we're going to go ahead and start, and we're going to work from the bottom. We're going to work from the bottom, and we're going to go up. And the reason why you're going to start from the bottom and go up is because these are layered. These lay over the top. You got these layer tabs. This lays over the top of this, and then this lays over the top of this. So you're going to want to start from the bottom, and you're going to want to start from your storage cubby here, and just take these screws out like this. There's one. And you get another one over here. You get just one screw on each side because like I say, the layer retainers are what's holding the bottom sections of each one of these units in place. So once we get the screw out of here, that'll just come down like this. Take our key, put it in. This is the reason why we set the emergency brake before. I'm going to go ahead and put this into a lower gear so we can have access to pull these pieces out. Yeah, set that right over there like that, nice. And then of course you've got your heater control. We're going to go ahead and take that out. I'm leaving the key on in the on position because at this point because I just don't want the chiming because I've got the door open. If I was to turn the key back, it would just chime. Of course, I could move the gear shift lever, but that's okay. And then this is layered, so then you could take your heater control out. Heater control has these clips back here, and if you wanted to just access the heater control, you can just take and pop these clips off. Pull this up a little bit, and then this should just slide right off. Actually, you can do that with your hand. You can do that with your thumb. So once you get this in the upper position, you can just pull this right off like that. And then the same thing with this. This has got a sandwich type. You pull up on the lower one, you pull down on the top one, and you should just be able to pop this right off as well. It should just come right out. This is a 2005. Probably never been out. Making this video in 2018, but there she goes. Okay. Some of these units have a problem with the heater control. Sometimes you'll have a situation where your heater won't work. That's because want to check in here. Sometimes this main control, I believe it's this red one here, will melt. If you ever smell any burning smell in your Grand Prix and your heater doesn't work, this is the first place that you're going to want to look. Check the tabs behind here, make sure that those are all clean. But that's probably what you're going to want to look for first. Then what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to take our radio out. I've got the cover off, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back in park right now, just for now, and shut it off. That way I don't have any power going to the radio. That way, if there was any issues with the connections or anything like that back there, I won't arc anything, I won't have any power going to it. Of course, you're going to have power going to the security system portion of it. I don't have any actual power going to the CD player or the radio itself or the audio unit. So I can avoid any potential issues if I have an issue with when I go to unplug it in the back. But this one's got 4 screws. We'll shut the door so we don't have that chime. Take that out. Hold up on that radio when you get that last top screw. She's going to want to drop down because there's nothing down below holding it. Like I said, that's why I wanted to get from the bottom to the top, because it's all supported by the lower unit, whatever it sits on. And then there's your radio. Yeah, you get access to your radio. Same type of a sandwich type of a plug back here. You can just reach in, sandwich these, pull this tab down, pull the bottom tab up, and the radio plug should just come right out. Same thing with your steering controls. If you have the steering controls, which most Pontiac Grand Prix did that year, here's your steering control plug. Of course, there's your antenna. I want to make sure we grab that by the metal base, and easy peasy, there's your radio unit. And then you can look behind and you can see pretty much what it consists of. Sometimes some issues have occurred where the plug back here, and want to check those wires, make sure that that's all good if you have an issue with your blower control, because it looks like that feeds right into that main wiring loop right here, this main wiring harness here. So take a look at that. That's just another one of those blade style plugs that you can just unplug. So that's kind of what it looks like when everything's all apart. So, and then when it comes time to put everything back together, you just put everything back together. Back down like that. And got our radio. Here's your vent. So anytime you want to access something back here, this is how you're going to do it. We're going to repeat the procedures, putting it back together. We're just going to go in reverse. I'm going to put the steering controls plug in the radio in first, because I'm going to put the antenna plug in first, because that's the shortest one, and that's the one that's going to cause you heartache and headache if you miss that one and you go to do it last. So we're going to put that right in there. Make sure it's down in there real good. And we're going to go with our steering control plug. I'll put that back in. And the same thing with our main harness unit. Give it a good click, make sure that that's all in place. Put our radio back in. Should fit right back in there. Make sure you don't have any binding action going on with your wiring harness in the back. There you go. Number 2 Phillips screwdriver. We're going to start that screw. Get it so that it's aligned. And then what I'm going to do is, instead of just torquing this one right down, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Put this one in the other side over here. That way, I'm not putting any additional pressure on any particular tab to try to keep it into place until I get ready to torque them down. You can see those brass inserts that the screws screw right into. And again, we're going to do the reverse order, because we're not going to be putting in the lower units in, because what happens? You've got those overlapping tabs that I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Let me go ahead and put this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the key back on, put it back, move the shifter down so I have more room to move. And we're going to work this here. Put this plug back into place here. Make sure I got the right. There we go. You get the grooves on the top. They're going to fit right in there. Oops, excuse me. Yep. This one right here. There we go. Glue goes on the driver's side. Make sure you line up the pins. You don't want to damage the pins. And there we go. And here we go on the side. Green's on the passenger side. And because I got the power go on, of course that's gonna actuate. This is what I was talking about, the overlap. These are gonna go right inside of these guides, and then it's going to align you up perfectly with the hole for that particular unit. Put this in here like this. And now that I've got this set up in its spot, I can go ahead and put this one on this side. Make sure that that tab is lined up with that groove that it goes into. Very nice. Then I can put my lower radio screws in. That way I know everything is flat and flush, and I'm not going to be breaking any tabs. You break any tabs, this is the type of plastic that you really can't glue. It's made out of that type of material that very difficult to repair. You certainly don't want to be buying a new radio or buying a new heater control unit. And again, this is going to go right down below. It's going to line up on each side, and when it does, we'll time to put the screws into this particular piece as well. Make sure you line those tabs up prior to trying to put your screws in. Gotta make sure you gotta do this in a sequential order. You don't want to damage anything. Have something like a simple radio or a simple heater access cost you more money because you didn't take just a few extra minutes. Good. Got everything secured into place. My screws are tight. Take my control panel back down. Realign it. Pop it back into place. Going to do just the opposite. Going to start from the top. Push the top. Work your way down. Make sure everything's working. Everything's working. Take our ignition. I can put my gear shift back into park now. Take my key out. This goes right back in. Make sure that you just align it with the, this dot would be right on the top of the slot. And that'll just pop right back into place. And that's how you access your radio and your heater control panel. Pontiac Grand Prix. And I don't know, maybe some other General Motors products of this vintage, but all I know is this is what we're dealing with today. Good luck. Thank you.